but the number of machines are different. So write it, two jobs, and through there are jobs, but that is passing through a number of machines, right? So start doing this. Again, we're taking one example that we have two jobs, job one and job two, and the sequence time of time in hours it is given to you. Sequence of time in hours is given to you. Same here over. Sequence of time in hours. Like by the different machines, say example, 5 machines we are taking up. A, B, C, D, and E. And the processing time is given to you. That is the way the job 1 and job 2 is working up. So note down that value. That is 2, 3, 4, and it is 6 and 2. And the last one, that is a job 2, when it's starting from the 5 machines, its processing time is. But now what we'll do, one more thing we do, the job 2 when it is passing, maybe the machine time or the sequence of the machine cannot be, may or may not be same. Like it can be A, B, C, D, E, but it can be in the form of like this. I'm changing over here, like what we're doing in this case study. Now we're changing it like C. For the job 2, machine C is on the first process, then A, then D, then E, and then B. And the processing time for this is 4, 5, 3, 2, and 6. Yes, it can be possible. So you have to done with all these scenarios. Like the job 2 are there, job 1 and 2, and their processing through the different machines are given you with their different times. Now, what we have to do in this type of a case questions, like when we have two jobs and M machine, we will basically do this type of question through the graphical method, as it will help you in more easy way how we can find out the values of the total elapsed time by the two machines and what will be the processing time as well as the idle time, right? So start making a graph. Before starting a graph, one more thing you have to take care, like there are three type of signals or diagonals or three type of lines are there. You can note it and we have to learn that line so that we can apply that line concept in this graphical method. What are these three lines? Note down the line number one. If it is a horizontal line, when there is a horizontal line, then what this type of line is there? If there is no horizontal line, then this line indicates that job one is under process, right? You have to remember this. And job 2 is idle, right? The job 2 is idle. But once there is a next type of a line, that is which type of line now? The vertical. When you have a vertical line, then it will be indicate that job 1 is idle in that scenario and job 2 in that scenario will be under process, right? And the third category, we have a horizontal line, it can be a vertical line, and third category is a diagonal line. Diagonal. Once you are having a diagonal line, it indicates that job number 1 and job number 2 both are running simultaneously, right? So this is the way you have to remember the three lines, horizontal line, vertical line, and diagonal line, and you have to apply this concept for finding the idle and under process system. Coming back again, we do this type of questions when we have two jobs and different types of machines. We normally follow the graphic method and apply with that graphic method, we will able to find out the total elapsed time, processing time, and idle time. So start making a graph. For that, we have to make two arrows, that is x and y axis, in the same way like we have to follow. We given this one is a job 1 we have given, and this we take it as a job 2, right? Now what we have to do, we have to allot the figures over here. Like different allotting figures is there. Like for example, as we have just discussed in the case which is given to us, that job A, you can check it over here and find it over here first of all. Like check it, come and note down some processing time over here. Like when we are talking about the job A, right? It will be done up at 2 hours. But when we are coming up to the job B, the 3 hours more processing time. So that means we completed the job B will be at 5 hours, right? After completing 2 plus 3, that will be 5. C, that processing time is 4. That's 5 plus 4, that will be 9, right? continue with that concept only, and we are allotting over here. Okay, so start doing with me only so that it will be more helpful to you. So a lot of like job A work, total processing time you add up over here. Like in the job A, when we start up, it will take 2 hours. So we write it over here, A1, that's the job A, and it will be completed at 2, right? So we write it A and 2. And then we are processing further for the B. 3 more hours, that is 2 plus 3, that will be 5. So we write it over here as a 5, right? We write it over here as 5. You can take one like line scaling also you can do, but I am not doing the line scaling. We just presuming that the values is to be find out. So this is A, this is B, right? Now coming up to the next point, that when we going for the C is taking a 4 hours, then adding 5 plus 4, right? So we adding this 4, that will be 9, that will be a C time, right? Now the D1 is taking a 6 hours, 6.6 is there, 9 plus 6, that will be 15. So we write it over as 15, and that is this one area will be a D1. Now the E1 is taking 2, then 15 plus 2, that will be 17, right? This will be your last point, that is E1, right? So what we find it over here, in the 17 hours the job 1 work will be done, right? Now coming up with the category for the job B. For job B, the first one, that is the machine A, is taking 4 hours. But yeah, but over here, that is in the job 2, we are having the first machine, that is C. And C is taking how much time? 4. So we write it over here 4, and this point will be C. Right? Now, for the job 2, the second machine is A, and the time is 5 hours. 4 plus 5, that will be 9. Right? So I'm writing over here as 9, and that is the part is A. So writing over here as A part. Right? Now, D is taking 3. 9 plus 3, that will be 12. So here 12, and that part will be D. Right? Now the E is taking a time of 2 hours. 12 plus 2, that will be 14 over here, and it is a part of E, right? And the last one is B, and B is taking a processing time of 6. That means 14 plus 6, that will be 20. That will be your 20, and this is taken by B. So what we get it, the job 2 has a processing time of 20, right? You can write it over here. Processing time, you can now write it over here so that it will be remembered to you. Processing time for job 1. That job 1, all the work is done at 17 hours. Write it over here. And the processing time for job 2 is equals to that we have just done up, that is 20 hours, right? Now what we have to do, now we do one, like you can use your scale or you can use with the rough one, right? Scaling of all these values, like in what way, like I'm just doing with you, you also carry on. Like 2 is there, I'm just scaling over this with the 2, right? Now we have the 5, so I'm doing with this one, 5. Joining the points, right? Now coming up with the next, that is 9, joining over this as a 9, right? Now we have 15, so join with the 15. Now the last one, that is 17, so just join up like this. You can use with the scale right now and then draw, right? And same here over here is 4, that is the first machine, C. Then we have A machine that completes their work at 9 hours. So with this one, then we have completed D at 12, doing this way. Then we have 14, then this way you have completed up. And the last, that is a 20, That is your finish point, right? This is your finish point, right? And then we have start. Now, what you have to do, you have to find the common area. Like for example, over here, I'm just changing the color so that you can able to analyze what is going on actually, right? So just using color of blue. Like A over here, right? A over here, and the A1 is over here. So that will A is a common over here, and this box will be considered for A, right? Common area. Same with B. If I'm going in the horizontal and vertical, both way you have to check it with the rows and column wise and find the common for the B. This is for A, right? Making it more highlight for you. This is for A. Now the common area for the B, we have to find out for B, this one going up, 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 and B is this one, right? And shade this box for the B and highlight the word like this is now your B, right? This is B box. Now coming up next with the C, C is this, yes, this is your part. C is this one, common areas for both. Shade this whole value for C and the pointed root over here is C, right? Now coming up to the further proceed, we will proceed further. What we have to do, we have to find the shaded area. Next shaded area is G. Going up, up, this one is G. So this box will be considered as a common area for D, right? For both the horizontal and vertical ways. Now we have to find out the E. Going further, this is C, this is A, D is done up. Now this is the E part. So select this part of E, and this is a common area for E, right? Just change the color, write it name. You can use the pen and paper properly just to make it in a proper highlight way so that it will be easy for you to recall. Now, what we have to do in this scenario, we will try to use the lines. And the lines can be in the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal ways, but it cannot cut that shaded area. Remember, we can't cut at the shaded area. So what we do in this scenario, see, when we start from this point and we will going further, we find it is till D we can come up till D we were coming in like in a proper 45 degrees Celsius. We can go up and like making this. And remember, we don't have to cut the shaded area, right? You can't cut the shaded area, so we just doing in this way. When you use the pen and paper properly, yes, you're able to find out. So this is one of your diagonal line. And then this line, as we can't cut up and go up the upstairs, so we were using this as a vertical line. That means the idle time. Then we moving up further and going up. Then we find out no. Remember, we can't like cut this line in this way, so we're just going in the horizontal way, and this is the first. Okay. So this is the way we done up. You can do it little bit diagonal on this, and yes, you have to make a 45-degree end. We can just make it like this so that it will be more graceful to you. Hope it is fine. Right now, what we have to do, the same scenario, you have to remember the scenario. If you have to find the idle time and the process time. So, for if there is an idle time for job 2, can be possible only when there is an horizontal line. For job 2, you have to find out the horizontal line. And if you want to find the idle time for the job 1, you have to find out the vertical line. Okay, so now you have to follow some norms. The steps will be shared to you. What we have to find out now, just note down over here. We are finding out the total elapsed time, right? We have to find out the, write down over here, the total elapsed time for job 1, and we have to find out the total elapsed time for job 2. Like for total elapsed time for job 1 is equals to, write down the formula, processing time for job 1 plus, in between what you have to do, you have to plus the idle time for, what is the idle time for job 1, right? Same with the formula for the job 2, that is processing time for job 1. Now here it is job 2 plus you have to add it the idle time for job 2. Right now we have to find out the processing time and we have to find the idle time. Then putting the value of processing and idle time, we will get the total elapsed time. So coming up, when we have to find out the processing time, we already find the processing time, that is 17 and 20, right? We can also find out the processing time just adding all the figures as given in the question. Like the processing time by job 1, if I'm talking about the processing time for the job 1 is 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 2. Then we add all this value and we get it 17 hours, right? Same with that, when we are finding the processing time by the job 2, add all these values 4, 5, 3, 2, and 6, we will get it 20 hours. Right. And earlier also we have done up while making on a graph and we find out that job 1 completes all their work at 17 and job 2 will took near about 20 hours. So the processing time by the job 1 is 17. We write it over as 17 plus the idle time for job 1. So what we have just written over here, when we are finding the idle time for the job 1, you have to remember the line. What line you have to remember? The vertical line. Vertical line for job 1 idle. So find it over here. For job 1, this is your job 1, and this is the vertical line, right? So how much line this indicates? This line starts from 9 and this line ends at 12. That means the 3 hours remain idle. So write it over here as an idle time for job 1 is 3. So 17 plus 3, that is the 20 hours is the total elapsed time for job 1. Right. Same with the job 2. First, we have to write down the processing time for job 2, and the processing time for job 2 is 20 hours, right? Plus the idle time for job 2. Again, remember the keywords when we have to find the idle time for job 2, then what we have to do, we have to check is there any horizontal line in the job 2. In the job 2, hurry up, check up in the diagram. This is the diagram, this is the job 2. We have the vertical line, we have the vertical line over there, we have the vertical line. So there is like diagonal, no, what line we have to find out for job 2, that is the horizontal line. So is there any horizontal line in this? No, we have the diagonal line, we have the vertical line, we have the diagonal line. We don't have any horizontal line. So the idle time for job 2 is 0. That means 20. We can write it over here as no horizontal line in job 2. Therefore, idle time for job 2 is equals to 0. That means 20 plus 0 is equals to 20 hours. So this is the way we can find out the total elapsed time by the different jobs 1 and 2 when we have given a 2 jobs category and we have the number of machines. This is the process and the steps. Yes, you have to use the graphic method to find it the more effective way. This method is again needs a lot of practice and understanding, but all these methods given by the Johnson algorithm are very easy and very effective. You just need to like do the practice, and when you are able to do the practice again and again, you will able to find out your answer in a good way.